Welcome, listeners, to the Deep Dive. Today, we're doing something a little bit different. We're diving into this really fascinating collection of unscripted moments caught live on TV. Yeah, our main source for this is an audio compilation. It's called Most Awkward Moments Caught on Live TV. Best Funny News Bloopers. Hashtag 2016.mp3. Now, you might be thinking, okay, awkward moments, bloopers, it's just like for laughs. And look, there are definitely laughs, plenty of them. But our mission today really is to go beyond just the humor. We want to unpack what these unscripted moments, sometimes hilarious, sometimes truly cringeworthy, what they actually reveal. You know, about live broadcasting itself, about human nature when you're under immense pressure, and frankly, about the incredible art of recovering quickly when things go sideways. So you're going to hear about some verbal gaffes that'll make your jaw drop, some surprising physical mishaps, and those kind of authentic reactions that really pull back the curtain.
And that's exactly why this stuff is so compelling, isn't it? Live television, I mean, it's the ultimate high wire act. There's no take two, no pause button. You can't edit it out later. The risks are just huge. It demands instant adaptation, right? Not just to breaking news, but to every little unforeseen hiccup that happens. And what's really interesting is why these moments hit home for us, why they resonate so deeply. They give us this rare sort of unvarnished glimpse behind that polished facade of professional broadcasting. It reminds you there are real people trying to navigate this stuff, often with, well, very human results.
Okay, so let's dive right in then. Let's start with the verbal gymnastics. Those moments where the sheer pressure of speaking live just twists words in unexpected ways. Like, take the fantasy bra comment. You hear the reporter saying, last year's fantasy bra was valued at $2 million. And then immediately this self-deprecating follow-up comes out. For most guys, a fantasy bra is one they can actually unhook. Trust me, I wouldn't know. That quick, I wouldn't know, that sort of self-deprecating humor. What's going on there psychologically? How does that help recovery?
Well, that's a classic example, really, of verbal damage control. The brain has this filter, right, constantly monitoring what we say, but under pressure, it can just momentarily fail. An unedited thought, maybe a personal aside, it just slips out. So the I wouldn't know part is almost like this primal attempt to regain credibility, control the narrative again. And often it works by kind of inviting the audience into the awkwardness, making it relatable. It shows the speaker recognized the slip immediately and is trying to pivot fast.
Yeah, you can almost hear the gears grinding. We heard another one that made me do a proper double take. I'm sweating, check your panties.
Yeah.
About 175,000 rice. I think that was supposed to be pantries. You can practically hear the internal, oh no, and then that frantic mental correction happening right there live. It's like their brain was already 2 steps ahead, but their mouth hadn't quite caught up. And we also heard that classic unfinished thought, just, I'm so CL, leaving you wondering, okay, what word was that going to be?
Right. And this really highlights the unique cognitive load of speaking live. It's not just about getting the words out clearly. It's rapid fire information processing, filtering, choosing words all at once. Are these, Freudian slips, or are they simply brain mouth misfires under extreme stress? It's hard to say for sure. Often you, the audience, fill in the blanks anyway, or you interpret the unintended meaning. That makes the moment memorable, not just for the speaker's slip, but for our own reaction to it.
And then you get the really shocking misstatements, followed by these immediate, almost jarring corrections. Like this one. Good evening, everyone. I'm Sandra Bookman. And I'm Joe Torres. We begin with the breaking news about Hillary Clinton's death. Whoa! And then, split second later, Hillary Clinton's doctor has just revealed the presidential candidate has been diagnosed with pneumonia. That initial statement is just a complete misfire, right? A really jarring error. But then that correction is so fast, almost automatic. What does that show about how broadcasters process and self-correct in real time?
It's honestly a testament to the split-second decision-making that's required. The brain's constantly processing incoming information from, say, an earpiece or a prompter, and there's this constant race between the words coming out of your mouth and the most current, accurate data you have. That correction, as instantaneous as it sounds, shows those neural pathways just rapidly rerouting, overwriting the incorrect initial statement. It's like a high-stakes cognitive sprint.
We also caught a couple of just priceless, unintentionally crude comments. There was that basketball sign-off that just went wildly off the rails. We're going to come right here, right in your mouth. Yikes. And this quick backtrack. Well, I don't know if they can play. Like, I don't know if they want to play. Like, no, well, you assume the intention was probably showing a spot on the court, but the phrasing. Wow. And then that sports interview with the double entendre. Because I know if I don't win this game, I'm done. So I'm good from behind. You can almost feel the collective cringe in the studio and the host just trying to move on very, very swiftly, not going there.
Exactly. These verbal gymnastics, they just underscore the incredible pressure on broadcasters to constantly self-monitor. Every single word has the potential for multiple meanings, especially when it's taken out of context, or when that crucial brain-mouth filter just, well, malfunctions for a second. That marathon goddess comment is another really stark example, isn't it? Hi, guys, I just met her. Yeah, fantastic. She has some nice titties. And then that immediate, super awkward pivot. All right, tennis shoes. It's not just a slip. It's this desperate, almost primal scramble to correct or distract. It really showcases that intense pressure to recover on the spot, steer things back to safer ground.
So, okay, if words can trip people up like that, imagine when you add physical actions or unpredictable guests, people or animals into the mix. We heard one reporter who was clearly struggling with a dog during a live segment. Jay, this is your yard. You designed this. Now, if you want this way, not this way. Not with the head, not this way. Can you turn, please? I think he wants to give you kisses. You could practically picture the poor reporter trying to physically wrangle this dog while staying professional on camera. What's the biggest challenge when you throw something uncontrollable like an animal into a live shot?
Well, the biggest challenge is simply the complete loss of control over one of your quote-unquote co-stars. Broadcasters, they try to prepare for every variable, right? But an animal's behavior is just inherently unpredictable. It introduces chaos, so it demands extreme improvisation skills. You've got to maintain composure, try to stay on message, and often literally wrestle with your subject, all while knowing the camera's rolling. It's a real masterclass in adapting to the unexpected.
And we also heard that truly dramatic fall during a live report. Oh, Dana, is she down? Hey, whoa. Recovery. It's slippery. That's fine. Oh, man. Now I'm feeling horrible. Dana, lie down. Are you kid? She's okay. Bounce back.
Yeah.
You just hear that immediate concern, right? The rapid assessment, the quick call for recovery, and then that palpable relief. That's just a raw human moment of concern for a colleague caught live. And sometimes the unpredictability is just implied. We heard this question to a reporter live in Arlington about some new laws. Jeff, everyone keeping their clothes on so far? And the reply comes back. So far, Kimberly, we're not hearing of any major problems, although I did just see that. And I did just see that. It just hangs there in the air, doesn't it? It hints at some unseen incident the reporter just calmly glossed over. What does that subtle acknowledgement, without going into detail, tell us about a broadcaster's presence of mind?
It really speaks to their role as kind of a gatekeeper of information and perception in that moment. They have to decide instantly what to highlight, what to downplay, and how to maintain that professional demeanor even when faced with unexpected physical stuff or potentially inappropriate sights off camera. That calm, I did just see that, is actually a remarkable display of composure. Acknowledging the reality without letting it completely derail the broadcast. It's about prioritizing the main story over potentially sensational but maybe irrelevant detail.
Okay, so what about when the hidden complexities of actually making live TV spill out onto the air, giving us that peek behind the curtain? We heard a reporter clearly frustrated, dealing with tech issues. Don't have IFP. I don't know where we're going. Neither does Jim. I can't get this F in there. And then boom, the immediate apology from the studio. We apologize for that. What does that raw moment of frustration with the tech side reveal about the whole intricate dance of live TV?
Oh, it reveals the immense pressure of just relying on technology. The IFB, that's the earpiece, right? It lets the reporter hear cues from the control room. Without it, they're basically flying blind. So that unvarnished outburst, it highlights just how critically every single element, sound, camera, cues, has to align perfectly. These moments, they remind us that behind the polished look, there are real people making real-time decisions, battling unseen technical glitches and frustrations.
And sometimes it's the crew themselves who become part of the live moment. We heard an anchor just directly addressing chatter off camera. Can I talk? I watch the show every day. Everybody has issues with a lot of chatter back here. Pay attention. 1 minute. Wow. That's a rare, really raw moment, isn't it? An anchor breaking that fourth wall to call out crew issues live on air. What's that tell us about the hierarchy and the need for absolute focus behind the scenes?
It speaks volumes about the intricate ecosystem of a live studio. Every single person, anchors, camera ops, producers, sound techs, they're all moving parts in what needs to be a perfectly timed machine. When that focus gets broken by, say, background chatter, it directly impacts the ability to deliver a smooth broadcast. So that public call-out, it's really a demand for collective discipline. It reminds everyone involved that while the audience sees the anchor, there's a whole team working in concert just off camera to make it happen.
We also heard a moment where an interview must have just gone completely off the rails. The anchor just says, "It's never happened to me in an interview before, but and then the audio just cuts. It implies, some unresolvable difficulty or maybe an unexpected turn that just couldn't be managed live. And then there was that humorous Hampton Roads comment, which suggested a previous gaffe we didn't even hear. The haunted tour through Hampton Roads continues. You can't say stuff like that. Expect me to read what's on the TV screen. That's an anchor actually pushing back on what they're being told to read, probably because of an earlier mistake.
Yeah, these little snippets, they really illuminate all the invisible work that goes into live media. They remind you of the countless moving parts, engineers, directors, producers, all trying to work together perfectly. When these moments slip through, they actually humanize the broadcast. They show us the real-time problem solving, the unique pressures faced by everyone involved in delivering what usually looks like a seamless experience. It's a glimpse into that dynamic human ecosystem behind the camera.
All right, so for our final segment, let's look at moments where the true personalities of the broadcasters really shone through, sometimes on purpose, sometimes maybe not, adding that layer of human connection. We heard one anchor deliver this really playful jab at a colleague. I hope you enjoyed your last time at the Today Show. Then quickly adds, I'm really kidding, I love you, and I've already complimented you on how pretty you are. Then a beat, I was lying about your eyebrows. I think they're shabby.
But
That sharp shift from compliment to playful insult, all clearly in jest, it shows a real rapport, doesn't it? And a willingness to go a little off script.
And what's really fascinating is why these genuine, unscripted moments often stick with us the most. They become the most memorable bits. I mean, in a media world that's often so hyper-curated, so polished, these raw, unscripted interactions act as these powerful signals of authenticity. They kind of break the fourth wall, don't they? They establish a deeper, more relatable connection with you, the audience, precisely because they expose the human, sometimes imperfect truth behind the professional mask.
Exactly. And then there was that incredibly candid moment, an anchor signing off early to go to a game. So committed. I'm going to sign off now because I want to get there by the time everything tips off. That unexpected honesty, that self-awareness, breaking from the usual professional sign-off to reveal a personal passion is incredibly relatable, right? It makes him seem less like just a talking head and more like, well, a real person who has plans after work. And finally, that unscripted sparring match we heard over polls. Says who? Most of them. All of them. Says who? Polls. I just told you I answered your question. Okay. Which polls? All of them. Okay. That back and forth feels so raw. It reveals this genuine debate or maybe frustration between the two speakers. It's not polished. It's definitely not rehearsed. And that's what makes it compelling.
You've hit on something really vital there. This taps into a much larger phenomenon, I think. Our desire as viewers to just see people being themselves, even in these professional settings. These moments, they build trust, they build relatability, they prove that even in these highly controlled environments, the human element with all its quirks, its humor, and yeah, its occasional missteps, it always finds a way to break through. It's a good reminder that behind the teleprompter and the camera lights, there are individuals just navigating real-time situations with their own unique personality and skill.
Wow. Okay, so that was quite the deep dive into what might just seem like, simple bloopers on the surface. But as we've heard, there are some surprisingly rich insights you can glean from these unscripted moments. They really do reiterate that powerful human element right at the heart of live broadcasting, the quick thinking, the unexpected humor, and sometimes that profound authenticity that just emerges when the script, well, goes out the window.
Exactly. These moments, they're not just entertainment fodder. They're actually powerful stress tests, you could say, for human adaptability and for the complex mechanics of live media. They highlight that even with the best scripts, the best technology, it's the raw, unpredictable human element that ultimately defines the live experience. And they remind us that authenticity, even when it's accidental, often forges a much deeper connection with an audience than polished perfection ever could. So maybe the thought to leave you with is this. What do these moments truly tell you about our fundamental human ability to adapt, perform, and just be real under pressure, even when the carefully planned script is suddenly thrown out the window?